Okay, we're live. Hi, everybody. I am Elizabeth Mathern with Kuck Baxter Immigration in South Georgia, in our South Georgia office, which is in Adel. That is halfway between Tipton and Valdosta, right off I-75, which a lot of people take going down to Florida, so from Atlanta. So if you're in this area, feel free to stop by and say hello. We are Adel is getting ready for fall. A lot of the businesses are putting out decorations. There's going to be a Halloween candy thing towards the end of the month, and it's just a really, really cute downtown, small town downtown. So, you know, if you're in the area, swing by. We're getting our decorations, our fall decorations out. The Downtown Development Authority came by yesterday and presented us with a little gift certificate for one of the local shops, a Mercantile, which is a super cute little gift shop that has all sorts of things, really cute stuff, that's on Hutchinson, which is one street over from where our office is in downtown Adel. That was such a nice surprise. The Downtown Development Authority and the Chamber of Commerce here in Adel are very active, very supportive. It's a lovely little business community. So anyway, okay, but immigration law. So we are going to talk about what's going on in immigration today. I am happy to answer questions live. Feel free to go ahead and post those, or just post and say hi. Click those little bubbles, let us know you're there, so that it also alerts people that we're live when you start clicking those bubbles. So feel free to do that. If you like our daily immigration updates, hi Nanette, thank you for posting. Good afternoon. Hi Alex, how are you? Thanks for posting. All right, if you like our immigration updates and you're not subscribed to our page or to get alerts that we're going live, feel free to do that. Make sure you go to Kuck Baxter Immigration and like and subscribe on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn, our Twitter, our TikTok. We're all over the place. I'm not all over the place as much as the firm is, but if you wanted to follow me specifically, my professional Facebook page is Immigration Attorney, Elizabeth Mathern, Immigration Attorney. You can find that, and you'll get Adel office updates on that page as well. Okay, so I'm going to talk today about a report that the Government Office of Accountability issued regarding USCIS and the backlogs. This is a report that they've taken over 2 years to pull together. It looked at 5 years worth of data and statistics. Hello, hi Ahmed, I see your question. I'll get to that in a second. And Zain Cohen, great name. Hope I said that well and didn't mess it up. Thank you so much for posting, and hello everybody. I want to talk about the report that the GAO issued regarding USCIS backlogs, talk a little bit about what we're seeing in backlogs, show you some data that is out there, but also bring to your attention the work permit lawsuit that our litigation wing of things is onboarding clients for. So that's something really, really important. I'll put the link in the chat on how you can get into that litigation. If your work permit is also called an EAD, or employment authorization document, has been pending for a long time, the receipt issues an automatic extension for some categories, but other categories it does not. And even EAD processing is taking longer than that extension for some people. So, or for the people who don't have that extension. People are at risk if their employment authorization document expires. They're at risk of losing their jobs. They're at risk of their driver's license expiring and not being able to renew it. And those two things alone have significant ripples in people's lives. Jody, you're asking how long is too long? 180 days, right? 180 days is the general benchmarker for if it's been pending more than 180 days. Let me look here and see if it says. Oh, there's the train, the Adele train. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I know it's loud. Jody, you're at 169 days. Yeah, you might as well look into the litigation because, that's right around the corner. Oh, let's see. Shoot, they might have closed. It's still, the link is still available on the litigation partners website. It does say that they are still onboarding through the 24th, but I think Mr. Kuck mentioned it yesterday in his Facebook Live. So I'll go ahead and provide that link for y'all, and we can, you can check it out. But the information regarding that is saying that USCIS is taking more than 180 days to adjudicate applications, and people are at risk at losing their jobs, health insurance, driver's license, etc. All right, so that's a really important thing to look into. And, with the GAO report, all right, I just posted the link for that EAD lawsuit onboarding. It may be too late, folks, but I'd go ahead and try and see. With the GAO report, they issued a 72-page report basically reprimanding USCIS. We've seen these reports before, like where GAO talks about how inefficient things are, and then gives a list of all the things that USCIS could maybe do to improve, or why the backlogs have ballooned like they have. And it's funny because a lot of times the government agencies just push back and say, there's nothing more we can do, or we just need more money, or things like that, which is what we're going to see with USCIS. But I did want to mention some of these statistics I thought were really interesting. And, it doesn't help you maybe get your case addressed right this second, but it does give you an idea that maybe you're not alone, and that more of this litigation is going to come on board and sort of help push things in the right direction. And just to know that it's not just, I think sometimes I see clients get really worried that maybe their case is stalled because of something about them, like that they worry that they aren't getting a fair shake with the government, but you are not alone. So it looks like that the processing time from 2000, where did I read that statistic? It was like in the last couple of years, the processing time increased by 54%, which is like for something that used to take 9 months, that means it would now take 13.5 months, right? So one of the main things that the report did notice and mention, which I was so glad that they actually mentioned it, was the fact that policies consistently changed over from 2015 to 2020. I mean, up and down, backwards and forwards, fill in every blank, don't fill in every blank. It was just all of these minutia that we had to keep up with, constantly changing. Also, form length. So I think the I-90 went from like 18 question. No, let's see. Is that the I-90 or the I-485? Hold on. I had several articles I was reading about this. One form went from 18 questions to 229 questions. And out of the 6 forms that they looked at in depth, out of the 7 forms they looked at in depth, 6 increased in just the size of the form. I remember when the I-130 was basically a page and a half. It's now a whole thing. So when the form length increases, in theory, it takes us longer to fill them out and make sure that we have all the questions answered properly and with the proper documentation. But also on the other side of things, it takes a USCIS officer much more time to review a lengthier form. And they can't get through things as quickly. And not that that's an excuse, but, and so they only have so many hours that they're authorized to work in a day, and they're only authorized to look at a certain file for a certain period of time, which I don't think that that time period for each file increased. So they have basically, the backlog has grown by 85%. It's insane. And so stuff is taking a long time. Now, the GAO made several recommendations, including, you know, that they need to hire more workers and things like that. Are we going to see the government do that? You know, I think the Biden administration mentioned they need another $345 million in order to process things more quickly. Yeah, I think we are entering into an era where litigation is the only sort of way to make these shifts. That the government isn't necessarily looking to be more efficient just on its own. We have to increase the pressure and the pain at which they are functioning. So, and to get any sort of change, which is a highly volatile sort of situation, but good news is that we can help with that. So let me get to a couple of questions. And, you know, if you have any questions while I'm talking, feel free to ask them. Also, don't hesitate to say hi and click those little bubbles. I love to see y'all are here and joining me. Okay, let's see. Ahmed is asking if GO is a class action lawsuit. All right, Ahmed, as I've mentioned before, I'm not part of the litigation team working on that lawsuit, but it's my understanding, my recollection, that it is not a class action. And so for that reason, the judge's sort of orders really only apply to the plaintiffs. I'm sorry, yeah, the plaintiffs, like the actual people that were joined in the lawsuit. So it is not a class action as far as I know. If for some reason I'm wrong, I'll post the correction. All right, let's see. Okay, Jody, we got to your question. Danny, do we help with I-140 RFEs? Absolutely, we do. We have some really highly effective employment-focused immigration attorneys. Yeah, so feel free. Call us, set up a consult. You can send in the RFE, a copy of the RFE, with your consultation booking, and the attorney who does the consultation can take a look at what the government's saying and what they're requesting, kind of get an idea of the complexity or the situation that you're in, okay? So yes, the answer to that is an easy one. Thank you for that easy question, Danny. Okay. Oh, Jody, you're on the waiting list. Okay. Any hope for DV 2021? We always have hope because we're never going to stop fighting, obviously, right? If you are a plaintiff, then you know, you're in a better situation than those who are not. But at the same time, you know, I think that sometimes justice can be delayed, but eventually, you know, they say the arc always bends towards justice, and I believe that's true. So for DV 2021, like the delays that impacted the ability to get interviews, Department of State's like ridiculous delays, inefficiencies, the country bans that we saw, we have to see some sort of remedy. I mean, I'm not going to lose hope. I'm just not going to lose hope. Even when things look dire, it's just the right thing to do. So I know that the litigation team, I mean, it is a powerhouse. Do you guys realize that this litigation team is like comprised of team members from, I think, 3 different law firms, top law firms in the world for immigration law. And they are a powerhouse. So if anybody can get something done on this DV litigation, it's going to be our litigation team. If you don't follow the litigation team, there's an Impact Litigation YouTube channel, and they post videos there. I think they're still doing them every Monday. So check that out. See if you can find that link on our Facebook page or wherever you're watching from. And yeah, follow them there. You know, it may not be immediate and when we all hoped we would get the answer, but I'm remaining hopeful that we're going to get the answer and we're going to get justice for DV 2021 recipients. So this country would be better for it. So let's keep up the hope. All right. Okay, I don't read these characters, so I'm not able to pronounce your name, but thank you so much for posting. When will they be able to get rid of the backlog? It is going to take time because as with backlogs, you know, that the snowball effect, right? It just balloons. It balloons and things get, the problem gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and therefore it's harder to chip away at it. With the right type of management, you know, potentially, I don't know that it necessarily takes that much more money. Some poor policies still have yet to be rolled back. Policies that are, you know, at some point, policies make things, there are certain policies that make things even harder to accomplish the goal that they're intended to accomplish. So if the goal is to properly vet people who want to immigrate to the United States, and you create all of this problem, unfortunately, it's going to be just something that more and more people don't want to do anymore. But maybe, you know, maybe for the previous administration, that was the intended consequence that was veiled in all of these policy changes. Who knows? But we're still dealing with that. So I think it's going to take years. I think it's going to take years. The immigration court backlog is also another sort of disaster. But I mean, I have a little bit of hope that the Biden administration at least released a prioritization, which means that they're somehow trying to identify a strategy at which to focus and move cases through. However, it unfortunately impacts those that are on the lower end of the prioritization unfairly. So anyway, hi Omar, you're back. We've missed you. We have missed you. Okay, let's see. What the immigration laws that's proposed by the Dems? Okay, you're talking about the budget reconciliation. Sometimes I can't remember that term. I don't know why. It's a hard term to keep in my head. So where we are today, I'm so disappointed where we are today. The parliamentarian rejected the first package that the Democrats put up, which was the big one that included Dreamers and TPS and what was it? Essential workers, farm workers, all of that. She said that it, like the ripples of it were far beyond what was appropriate or something. So they then tried to propose a registry, which if you aren't aware of what registry was, I mean, I wasn't even alive when registry was a thing. I have been able to do a couple of those cases for people who have been here for a really long time, and those are always so fun. Registry was basically, and it's really old, Mr. Kuck talked about it on his Facebook Live, and there's some really good articles out about it. Registry is basically if you're here on a certain date and you pass certain criteria, like you don't have a certain disqualifying criminal offenses, you have a good moral character, etc., you just apply, register yourself for a green card. There are so many people that I run into and that I talk to that think that that is still the law. They think that people just need to fill out the paperwork to fix their status. Like, I'm mainly talking about people who are not immigrants, people who are US citizens, been here their whole life, haven't really been through or navigated the immigration process, think that it's just as simple as that. So since 1972, they had a big registry, and then the laws changed after that, and we went into like Reagan's thing, which we call amnesty, the amnesty of 86, 87, and then another big immigration reform package was in the 90s, the late 90s, which created all these bars to reentry and things like that. So what they were talking about doing is changing the registry date and just moving it up to 2010. 2010 would still be 11 years ago. So people would have to have been in the United States for like over a decade, pretty much had an opportunity to establish a life without violating certain, like pretty much any criminal laws, things like that, you know, paying taxes. They would probably pay fees, and they would get to register themselves and get permanent residency. She rejected that. The parliamentarian rejected that today. So I think, I don't know what else they have to offer. And then negotiations seem to kind of be like hitting the sandbar, like, you know, bumping up against things, because Manchin and Sinema, we knew Sinema was saying she wasn't going to support something as high as 3.5 trillion. Manchin is now on board with that. They're trying to shave $2 trillion off of what they say they're willing to support. $2 trillion. I mean, it's obviously it's more than half that they're saying they want gone. And then the infrastructure bill is still allegedly going to move through. So right now we're looking at the possibility of them arguing and utilizing government shutdown as another pawn on this, you know, game that they're playing with our lives, right? And it doesn't look like immigration reform is going to be part of this package. I mean, the Democrats are still saying that they're going to continue to fight. They're going to continue to try to offer additional options, but they're running out of time, and they're clearly not taking any sort of drastic efforts like firing the parliamentarian and hiring another one, which they totally could do. And I guarantee you, if the Republicans are in the same situation, they would do. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. This would be pushed through if the shoe were on the other foot. So Democrats are letting us down, and it affects people's lives. It affects people directly. So there were a lot of people that original bill was going to be able to help, and the registry would have been able to help a lot of people as well. Registry would have been a really, really good thing. So it's disappointing. Okay, let's see. I want to also mention the government shutdown. Since I mentioned that, I might as well say, I think today they passed something so that the government's not going to shut down today at midnight, but all they did was roll that out till December. So it looks like they just kicked the can down the road one more time. Let's see. Let me show you an interesting graphic or chart. Let's see if I can share my screen. Okay, here we go. So hopefully you'll be able to see these numbers, but I think it's really interesting to look at the classifications, the type of form, and then how much the processing time increased. And these are the COVID years, right? 2020 was our COVID year going into 2021. But I mean, look at the I-130. So my point is that we know that fiscal 2021 reporting processing times are going to be even more delayed because COVID just kept going. So like, look at the I-130 where it used to take 6 months. Man, I remember when it was like 3 to 6 months for an I-130. Those were the days. Now, I mean, we're pulling up closer to a year. And then this is an interesting, like a parole in place really peaked and just kind of got really high, but now they're reporting that all of a sudden in 2020 it just they started flying through. Interesting. So anyway, this is part of what the GAO looked at. Look here too at asylum. Used to take 7.5. Sorry, that's not the right one. Well, that's a 485. Yeah, a 485 based on a grant of asylum, 7 months. Because in order to get asylum granted, you have to pass several like extreme vettings, right? You can't get asylum if you have a criminal record. So it should be a pretty straightforward and easy petition to process for the government. They're looking at clipping at about 2 years for the permanent residency application. That's not even the adjudication of the asylum itself. So anyway, I think this is interesting. I'm going to post a link to this. I think it might help if you have pending cases, might help you kind of get a little bit of perspective on where things are processing. And then, if you you are able to submit a request, an inquiry, if your processing time is outside of the normal processing times. But the problem is that the processing time keeps changing, right? So that makes it harder and harder for you to be able to submit that inquiry. But of course you can. And I know calling the hotline for many people doesn't work. It's so frustrating. They like hang up on you. They tell you to use the website, all of that. It is so frustrating. But it does seem like they're trying to put more online forms on the website. And so I'll post the processing outside of normal processing link here. All right. And, for things like address changes or you didn't receive a mailing that they sent you, I've noticed that those forms have been updated and are a little bit more nimble. Like I think there's a non-delivery of card. So, or the typographical error one. If you get your EAD or your work permit printed and they like misspell your name, it's places. I know that my internet was weird for a minute. Sorry about that. I am in rural Georgia and the internet's not strong. All right, Amit has a question here. I would like to know if principal applicant is deceased, can the derivative beneficiary still be eligible for the visa? I'd have to know. I think the answer is no, Amit. Can you tell me, I guess it's an employment visa. I don't think that those you can capture with the humanitarian grounds, like with it for a deceased principal applicant. I don't think so. And I know that, you would have to have like an approved immigrant visa to do that on the family side of things. So, gosh, that's a tough one. I am sorry that somebody is in that situation. Why don't you consider doing a consultation with us so you can tell us what exactly is going on and what happened? Like if the visa was approved, what type of visa it was, if you've already traveled here, that sort of stuff. Okay, okay. So is it a sibling petition? Oh boy, oh boy. And then the derivative beneficiary was, and also was this petition filed prior to April 30th, 2001 would be my next set of questions. So Amit, let's do a consultation, okay? I think that this is a little bit more detailed than I've got to go because I'm over my 30 minutes. But please do email us, message us, call us. Let's set up a consult and we can see exactly what the situation is, okay? All right. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great weekend. We're headed into fall, or we're in fall, but we're headed into October, which is beautiful, a beautiful time in the South. I hope it's a beautiful time where you are too. All right. Thank you. Amit, I see you're saying it was approved in 2009. It's the file date that I'm interested in. But anyway, we can continue this conversation offline. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.